Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, inside the StreamYard Studios once again for a very exciting interview for you guys in store for y'all today because it's going to be an amazing one. Before we get to that though, if you guys want to get a chance to get yourself a Fighting Now shirt, yes, we have some merchandise thanks to MMAtees.com. Head on over to the link in my bio on Instagram at the Fighting Now so you guys can get yourself some merchandise today. So now that we're done hyping up the merch, I'm excited because today this woman here is doing so many incredible things. She's actually getting ready to fight for BYB Extreme on February the 3rd. And we tried to make this interview happen quite some time if it wasn't for my work schedules and of course me have going to the ER. But please, I'm so excited to get a chance to have this amazing woman join me. Please help me welcome Miss Nadine Mandiau.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
I'm doing good, doing good. I got some exciting announcements as far as what we myself and at Brawling Babes with Brittany have a store. So I can't really complain, but you have some huge news as well as you're getting ready to fight your first ever bare knuckle fight on February 3rd. How are you feeling before you get ready to go to the fight?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm really excited just to know what it feels like, I think that it's definitely going to help me with my MMA in general. I think like me working on my stand up, on my boxing, on my head movement, on everything right now, and then like actually having a fist coming at you, instead of a glove. Like I think it's going to be beneficial.
And plus, not to mention is that when it comes to BYB, it's inside the trigon, so yet you don't have much room, especially for just that little triangle. So it's a very exciting fight. I cannot wait. But let's go ahead and get things started. So we all get inspired by what we do today. Myself when it comes to interviewing, but for you when it comes to fighting. So what inspired you to start fighting?
Actually, it was a complete, I wouldn't say an accident, but like I started back in Georgia. I started making, it was Rush MMA. I started the cardio kickboxing there just to like lose weight and just to have like a workout. And then I started working at the front desk there. The owner was like, hey, how about you try the jujitsu classes? And I originally thought I wouldn't like jujitsu at all. So I was like, okay, but he was right. He said, if you're gonna sell this, if this is gonna be the product, then you need to know what you're talking about. And I had no idea. Whenever people asked me what jujitsu was, I was like, oh, it's like wrestling. So fell in love with jujitsu, fell in love with just martial arts. And then I always, because we had like a lot of fighters at that gym too, and I always thought like one day I want to be in a cage. I want to do it at least once. And then when I moved to California and got a job here and had health insurance, I was like, okay, we can do it now. We can try it now. But I know myself good enough to know that, okay, if I would have lost, I would have wanted to do it again because I wasn't going to stop on a loss. And if I would have won, I was probably going to keep doing it. So I was like, all right, this is a step we're taking. But that was just amateur. I didn't think about it at pro at first, but yeah, just fell in love with it and just wanted to keep going.
And I really love that because not too many people realize that jiu-jitsu can help out fighters in so many ways. You went from starting jiu-jitsu now to becoming a pro MMA fighter. Does it ever hit you the fact that you've made it to from where you started?
Oh, it's crazy sometimes because like I think about my schedule and just like the regiment that I'm doing like going through and people are like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." I'm like, "Nah, it's just a normal day." Like to me it's not that crazy anymore because I'm used to it and this is just kind of like what I dedicated to it. And so but thinking about it as like somebody who was a hobbyist and just started jiu-jitsu, 10 years ago, it's I mean, we've come a long way for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, y'all definitely have come a long way. And then for anybody that's watching this live right now or will be watching this later on, I encourage you guys, if you guys have not tried jiu-jitsu, it's such a fun thing. It's such an amazing experience. But the one thing I can't stress enough for is that once when you start, you have to keep the progress going. You can't be like, oh, well, I just learned jiu-jitsu today. Then you'll go back 2 weeks later and say, oh, that was like one day quick training session. Then
Yeah.
just keep going for like another 3 weeks, just one day. No, you have to be consistent. It's always been about consistency, especially when it comes to both the amateur and pro fighters. I mean, they do not take the time off, especially on top of their jobs, on top of a lot of stuff. You have to keep going. So if there's anybody that's watching this live right now, I encourage you guys to be a part of something such as jiu-jitsu because it can help you not only with self defense, but also can help you, who knows, becoming a pro fighter like you see with Nadine here.
Love
So
it.
the one thing, so one thing I've always thought about is that you train at SDCA and Top P in San Diego. How much has that gym mean to you?
So, 10th Planet is the gym in Mission Gorge, and then San Diego Combat Academy is kind of like we started out as a sister gym, but then after my husband took over the jiu-jitsu program, which is also with Gi,
Yeah.
we couldn't be 10th Planet anymore. So we went back to the San Diego Combat Academy, which was one of the previous owners. Like that's kind of what he had dubbed, the gym like years ago. So he had fighters under that name, like. Alima McFarlane, Liz Carmouche, like they were on there, like considered the San Diego Combat Academy. So the gym now means a lot to me because I'm the head instructor for the kids program for jiu-jitsu. And so, like you said, like it's an amazing gift to give to people, like to teach kids how to defend themselves, but also give them that kind of give them more like self-confidence, helping them with like awkward situations, right? Like getting comfortable in uncomfortable situations and kind of like pushing through. So it's been amazing just to be a coach. I call them my minions. They've been, my number one supporter. So I'm doing some of this for them too.
And of course, talk about this though is that these kids may end up going through bullying, went going through so much, and they pretty much look up to you like, I want to be just like Nadine. I want to be just like her, doing all these incredible things. Does it ever hit you the fact that you're inspiring so many kids that you are right now?
I mean, when it does hit me, when I do see it, it's crazy because I'm trying to be a good example. I'm trying to help them out, and you would actually be surprised with I found out how many kids were getting bullied that were in my class. So it is still, it's still a common theme, and just with helping them, and they're like, oh, that's my coach. One of the girls is like, that's my coach right there. Like we were watching one of my fights on the TV in the front lobby, and they're like, oh my god, so excited about it, and that made me feel really good. Like it just warmed my heart, and I was just like, okay, like I have to make sure that what I do here, that I lead by example.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of people are watching you, such as the younger generation. I feel like that the younger generation would look up to you so many ways, and it's really beautiful to see how much you're changing these kids' lives, especially with what they go through from bullying to whatever it is that they deal with these days. And I'm telling you right now is that you're setting a huge example not only for also all the kids, but for also adults like myself who see so much in you, who has seen such an amazing, beautiful warrior that you are, and it's really amazing to see you how far you've come from where you first started to where you are now.
Thank you.
No problem. Of course, something that we talked about is that when it comes to going to the gym, there's always been parts of training. There's also been the amazing. There's also been the fun parts about training, but there's also been the hardest part about training. So, from your perspective, what's been the hardest part about training?
Gosh, see, that's like a question that I really have to think about because it's just kind of seeing what your body is capable of. So it's kind of like the hardest part, but also the most rewarding part. Just kind of seeing like, wow, like I can do this. I can train for this long. I can lift this amount of weights. I can, get punched and keep going. I'm capable of all of this.
Yeah.
So I think overall, like I know there's people that hate the sparring. I know there's people that hate, but I really I love everything about it, like the process. Of course, I like long runs a little less than than pad work. But I definitely have to. I don't know. I've definitely been enjoying every single step. I can admit that at first, shadowboxing, as strangely as it sounds, I could not wrap my head around shadowboxing. Um, it's just weird. It's just there's nobody in front of me, and I'm not hitting a target, and you feel kind of stupid. So I really had to get used to that, and I think now within the last year is something that I've really gotten comfortable with just I mean, I can go on for like a half an hour and just be by myself and just shadow boxing and looking in the mirror and kind of seeing my movements and just like, repeating things over and over and making sure that I'm like actually technically sound.
Yeah.
And I think I used to kind of just be like, okay, I'll shadow box to get warm real quick and, we'll get going. So that might be an interesting like part of it.
And when it comes to shadow boxing, this is something that I've experienced is that, it feels kind of weird because you're not punching somebody, you're not even punching a pad. It's more like you're just pretty much giving the air what it gives for all
Yeah.
it knows. It's like take that air. It's like take this left hook, take that. Or I can understand from your point of view because when I first started training, it was always been, like if you don't have anything to do, go shadow box.
Yeah.
And then you get the most uncomfortable look from people outside of the gym. They're walking by and they're like, "Is he okay?" And, and trust me, I understand you from completely when it comes to say that shadow boxing. It's really tough. It's really tough, and that's sort of way. So trust me, I understand where it comes from. And when it comes to that, though, is that we all have something that inspires us to keep going through the tough times at training. I know that sometimes whenever you go to training, it wears and tears on you mentally and physically. So, what inspires you to keep going through those days at training?
I've definitely had, my setbacks. I've definitely had my losses, and I've definitely had like times that after a fight, I'm sitting in the back and I'm like, maybe this isn't meant for me. Maybe I need to quit. Maybe, I can't keep going. And I step back, like step foot back in the gym the next week, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Like it's just seeing my training partners, it's seeing the people that care for me, the people that support me, it's seeing my little minions, it's just all of that. I have my family back home. I like to think that I'm a good example for my little sister. And she actually came and visited over the summer, and she was there for one of my fights in Texarkana, which was awesome. I love Peak Fighting. They're an amazing organization. Um and they actually let my sister be at the corner, and it was crazy. She went home to Belgium and start working out, starting to do all these things, like try to get in a better shape, healthier, feeling better about herself, more confident. And it's like that's what makes me want to keep doing this, like this legacy, hopefully one day for my kids as well.
Yeah, not only that, because something I've always thought about is that you are just an inspirational soul, not only to your minions but also to your sister. And I got to think about this. So whenever you see your sister go and train and go eat healthy, it brings the warm side out of you. It warms your heart up. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
For sure. And of course, by the way, shout out to Peak Fighting. Peak Fighting, I know how much you love them. So shout out to Peak Fighting. I know they have an amazing year ahead of them. They just got done with an event last weekend. And of course, they have many more when it comes to events, which, by the way, if you guys go follow the Fighting Now, we do have a couple of Peak Fighting stuff. So go follow them through the Fighting Now. And of course, when it comes to the gym, when it comes to the training, you get a chance to meet some incredible people. You get a chance to meet some amazing ladies that you never thought you'd get a chance to have like a sisterhood or a friendship with. And there's three ladies I want to get a chance to shout out and talk about: Madeline Rose, Lauren Garcia, and of course the killer herself, Juliana Miller. Talk about how much it means to you to get a chance to train with three incredible ladies such as them.
I mean, that's the great part about being here in San Diego, South California. We have a lot of amazing fighters here. Just, girls that are in the UFC, in Bellator, in like really big promotions, and that are willing to train with everybody. So we have like a group, we call it the Coven. And so like Angela Overkill, Jessica Penne. We have like a bunch of the pro fighters that Jenna Bishop. We have a bunch of pro fighters that we all come together and we spar. We work together. We help each other. So that's like just that is an amazing. Um, it's been an amazing process too, because I used to not go to those sessions. I used to like kind of stay a little bit within my bubble, I guess is the best way to say it. And so once I started like branching open, and once I started training with 10 Planet, and got to train with people like Juliana, like that's when I really started noticing like, okay, this is what I need to do. Like this is the next step. Um, and it's awesome. I love Lauren. Lauren is so funny. She's amazing. I love working with her. I know right now, like, um, because I'm getting ready for boxing, I haven't been able to do MMA practices with her, but usually I'm there with her during the week. She comes down, just getting her ready because she's got another title fight. It was supposed to be in January, but then it got moved to March, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, so it's awesome. And she's also high level in jujitsu. Then Juliana, same thing, high level in jujitsu. You know, her story is amazing as well, just like from where she came from, and you know, all of the things that she had to endure, all of the things that all of the adversity that she's gone through and where she is right now. So it's just really cool to see that, like, if you work hard, if you want it hard enough, and you know, if you're willing to be there, and it's, you know, it can happen. So Madeline, she hasn't been, she's now at the 10th planet in Oceanside more, but before that, when she was with us like training, I loved it because her wrestling background is insane. So that was helping me a lot for sure, and she's like the sweetest thing too. So she's still young, so she's got a big bright future ahead of her.
I think all three of them have such amazing bright futures. I mean, Lauren, I've got a chance to interview her 2 times, and she's actually one of our sponsored fighters. Juliana Miller, I've always wanted to get a chance to interview her because I've seen how much she's done outside of the UFC because she does a lot of jujitsu. She does so
Yep.
much, and her story is just so incredible. Madeline, she is such an amazing soul. She works so hard, especially with the bright future that she has. All three of these ladies, and I want to get a chance to shout them out. All three of these ladies are so incredible, so amazing, and so beautiful in so many ways. So shout out to Madeline, shout out to Lauren, and of course shout out to Juliana because I know how much they mean to you as much as how much they mean to me, especially when it comes to the sponsorship and the promotion side of things.
Awesome.
So the one question, and this is something I've always asked all the fighters, is that I don't think a lot of people realize how much the sport, when it comes to fighting, when it comes to jujitsu, when it comes to what we do in the sport means to us, especially not only the physical aspects but also mentally. So my question to you is, how much has the sport helped you out mentally?
Oh my gosh. So it's funny because I joke about it sometimes. So I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder and a panic disorder. And so sometimes the uncertainty with fighting, you know, I always laugh. I'm like, well, you know, this wasn't the best career choice for somebody with anxiety. Um, but to be honest, like, it's helped me so much because I'm a person, like, my mind, and I say this all the time, my mind goes 500 miles an hour in 500 different directions. And when I'm training, when I'm fighting, like, that's all I'm focusing on. Like, it's quiet, you know, and that's what I love about it. It's always been like my sanctuary in that sense. Um, and so, yeah, I think everybody needs to have that kind of outlet, you know, definitely if you have any kind of um, mental health issues or just in general. I think everybody, I mean, we all have emotions. We
We
all go
do.
through things. We all have different situations, and I think it's important to have something that, you know, can kind of clear you away from that. So fighting has helped me incredibly a lot. It's also made it hard sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Like after fights, if I don't have anything scheduled and I'm just kind of waiting, I do tend to like fall back into depression. So like that is sometimes that's something that I'm working through personally.
Yeah.
So it's at like the fight game itself, it can be hard. It can be very hard mentally, but at the same time, it's like it's what gives me that relief, you know? So it's like a, I wouldn't say a love hate relationship, but it's definitely been like in that sense my savior.
And something I've always thought about, and I've talked to Brittany from Brawling Babes with Brittany about this, is that this sport has helped us out, and even as interviewers, this sport has helped us out in so many ways. And I can't stress this enough. It takes a lot of guts to share the stories that you, the fighters, just shared. So really, truly, thank you for that because it's always so beautiful to see how much this sport has helped us out mentally. And I always encourage people, if you're watching this live right now, or if you're watching this later on, go be a part of the sport. I don't care if you're an interviewer, if you're a fighter, if you're in the fifth row selling hot dogs, for all I care. It doesn't matter what you do because this sport is so beautiful. It may be dysfunctional at times, but at the end of the day, it's so beautiful because myself get a chance to meet so many incredible fighters, interviewers, at promotions, and they pretty much are okay with allowing the fighters to get a chance to share their stories. So, and I encourage anybody, if you want to go give this a try, I don't care if you're sitting at home eating potato chips on the couch watching this, get up and go to the gym and go be a part of something beautiful. Because if you're not loved by your own family, just by walking into the gym, that gym will become your own family.
Yeah.
It will be, you'll get a chance to meet people that you may or may not realize that, hey, like, we got your back. When you fall down, we all fall down. We will carry you. So trust me when I tell you, go and be a part of something so amazing, so incredible that you will not regret it, and you'll see a lot of changes on not only yourself but the way you think about things. It will
Mhm.
help you so much in a tremendous way.
I agree with that. I think the gym family is what we call them, is a really big part. And definitely for my husband and I here, because, my family, everybody is in Belgium, and then his family and everybody is on the East Coast. So the
Yeah.
friends that we have here, that's what we consider our family. That's who we rely on. And I mean, we do things outside of training and outside of going to competitions and stuff. And it becomes, it's a nice feeling. Like you said, it's great to have that kind of support, have that kind of family feeling. So for sure.
That's something I've always wanted to think about, especially after what happened with Victoria Lily, is that, mental health, it doesn't get talked about very often, and it definitely needs to have a platform to where it needs to be shared. That, hey, like, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to break down and cry, because at the end of the day, though, is like, I always get inspired by fighters like Nadine, by Lauren, by Juliana, because they go through so much inside the cage that we need to think about ourselves on a daily. It's like when we get up, it's like you're walking to the job. It's like you're walking to work. It's like you're walking into so many different things as a warrior, as a fighter. You got to have that warrior mentality every single day. I stutter and I apologize, but the one thing I can't stress enough about is that, this world needs you. If you're struggling right now, go get the help that you need, and most of all, go be a part of this incredible family. Because I'm telling you, we all lift one another up, and we all help each other enough. Because there are days where I need help, and I always talk to those that are by my side, because you know they're more than just fighters. They're incredible human beings. I apologize for the starter once again, but I cannot stress enough. My point is that go be a part of something beautiful. Go be a part of something so incredible that it would change you mentally, physically. It might change your life forever. And of course, something that I've always thought about is that we all look back on where we first started. You pretty much got a chance to learn so much through jujitsu, to flying out to California. Now you're a pro MMA fighter, get ready to go to your first bare knuckle fight. Is that do you ever just look back on how you started and to where you are today?
Oh yeah, I mean, I laugh about it all the time. I'm like, if you would have told me 10 years ago that this is something that I would be doing right now, I would probably laugh at you. Like I would probably scoff and just kind of like go on with my day. Like it is something that you gradually get into, like I mentioned earlier, and it just kind of becomes your day-to-day life and it becomes normal. But it's crazy to think about it if you're looking at like what is normal to other people, and so just thinking about just being this girl that after a bad breakup, gained some weight, was like, I need to work out and joined this gym to hit the bag a little bit. And, it's crazy. I've definitely come a long way, and I'm very thankful for all of the people that have been a part of that. Rush MMA back in Macon, Georgia is, I mean, and it's still growing. It's one of the best gyms down in middle Georgia. I loved my coach. He's always had a big impact on me, on my life. I was like basically a broke college student, and I wore one of the loaner gis for a whole year, because I couldn't afford my own gi, and then he bought me one. Like things like that, like just that family, like you said. And just coming from that to now, I'm flying out to Miami. I'm going to Miami. They pay for the flight, they pay for their hotel, and you get to fight somebody. Like it's just insane to think of that.
It's crazy. And of course, if there's anybody that's going through a breakup, sitting at home and eating popcorn and listening to sad stuff is not going to be your best friend. It's not. I'm
Just a
sorry,
little
but
bit, just a little bit.
it all depends on what you're eating.
Do it
Just don't.
do it a few days. Do it a few days. It's allowed.
Okay,
Ice cream is
maybe.
allowed.
Okay, so how many days are you going to give them? Like maybe two, maybe three?
I would say tops a week. I mean, I get it. Sometimes, it depends on the breakup.
If it's like a 2 day breakup, just go to the gym. If it's like a 6 month relationship, I understand. But trust me when I tell you, being in a bad place, having this pity is not going to do you any good. So
Yeah.
just go to the gym, and if you feel like you have this anger, just go punch it back. Go do some pad work. Just don't let it out on yourself, please. Don't.
Mhm.
Oh man! And of course, now we're getting ready to get to the amazing stuff, which is you get ready to have your first bare knuckle fight on February 3rd in Miami. And of course, I've always wondered is that it takes a lot of guts to step into the trigon like BYB Extreme has. And of course, this is for anybody that doesn't know about bare knuckle, it is no gloves. It is no gloves. You're in a little triangle. You have one person here, one person there.
My mom, I don't think my mom has been able to translate bare knuckle, so I've just told her it's a boxing fight. So let's just hope she
Oh,
doesn't watch it. No, I'm just kidding. I mean,
oh,
the story is true, but
I was gonna say, I'm like, Mom, if you're watching this, my bad, first of all,
it's
and
okay.
second, but bare
So,
knuckle is a completely different environment. Trust me when I tell you, if you guys go and check out the bare knuckle fights, you guys will see the bruises, everything that they go through. So my question to you is that what made you want to go to BYB and go do this bare knuckle fight? This is your first time, new environment. So did you ever have like a lot of thoughts on this?
actually, it was again something that just gradually we got into. I was actually training with Pearl Gonzalez at 10th Planet and helping her with boxing and stuff because she was supposed to have another boxing fight coming up with Game Bred Boxing. And Bill, one of the coaches, was like, we should try to get you a boxing match. And we talked about that with just me like focusing on let's compete in jiu-jitsu, let's do this, let's like do all the little things that are a part of MMA to like tighten everything up and to keep myself busy. um and so I was like, yeah, I'll do a boxing match. So we were trying to get ready for that. We thought we had something, and then it was taking a little bit. And then my other coach Manola was like, well, they're looking for this. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. I'm like, I'm fine. It's still boxing, right? Like, I'm not that worried about like the injuries in my head. Like, I have a picture of it. Like, I hit the corner of a brick bar when I was 17, and I have this huge scar on my eye. And I was like, it heals. It's a scar. It's whatever. I'm not too worried about that. Um, but I am curious what it is. Like I said, like to punch somebody with a fist. I've never been in a fight outside of the cage. I'm not that person. So, not saying I'm not that person because I've definitely been like I'll fight you, but I've never had to do that. So it's just crazy now to see like, all right, well, this is the next step, and we'll see where it goes from here. Like the
Yeah.
organization has been amazing so far as well. Very on top of things, very communicative. So if this is the next route to go, and if we can stay with them, but I still want to stay with MMA though. That's like the
Yeah.
one thing I don't want to completely go away from MMA. I'm hoping that Bellator will call me back again one day. I'm hoping that I can keep working my way up. So it's just becoming a better artist overall.
Yeah, exactly. And first of all, I want to get a chance to shout out to BYB Extreme because, last week I got a chance to ask them, like, is there anybody that, I can get a chance to interview to get a chance to represent BYB Extreme? And they were like, have you heard of Nadine? I'm like, have I not heard of Nadine now? But really, truly, I know BYB is doing so many incredible things. So if you guys have not got a chance to go follow them at BYB Extreme because there's been like a lot of these different MMA fighters from Aaron Tuggle to so many different ladies who are been involved with the Trigon. So I cannot wait to see you go in there. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be incredible. But hopefully after that, who knows? Maybe Bellator may call you and say, "Hey, would you want to come back to MMA and get another fight for you?"
Yeah. So, I mean, I won't be mad if Bare Knuckle is like, all right, let's do it again. It's whatever keeps me busy also. Like I just I love fighting. It's crazy. I love it. I love and I hate it sometimes, but most of the time I love it.
It's a beautiful but dysfunctional thing. That's the one thing I can say about fighting is that you're gonna have your amazing times, but you're gonna have a little bit of dysfunctional for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's life.
It's life. I mean, that's just life in general. That's just life in general.
Yep.
But of course, something I've always thought about is that we're in 2023, and there's always, not New Year's resolution, cut that crap out, but there's always something I've always thought about is that brand new goals that are waiting for you. So, do you have any goals that you want to achieve this year?
So one of my goals, and I wrote this down because peak fighting has offered it a few times. We just haven't taken that. We haven't agreed to it yet because we were working on a lot of different things. But I hope that this year that I get another belt. I want another championship belt. I have the one for Tough Enough as an amateur, 115, and I hope in this year as a pro that I can get one from one of the amazing promotions that I've been with, and that I get to hang it up in my room with all the minions.
I'm pretty sure that if you do win some gold, I'm pretty sure that your minions will just hold it up like a championship belt, be like, "I'm a winner"
Yep.
type of vibe. That's really awesome. So, Peak Fighting, if you're watching this, hey, go give her another championship fight because it will be incredible to get a chance to see her win some gold. No problem. And of course, my final question. This is probably one of the toughest questions I ever ask because I ask every single fighter this. But we all want to be recognized for something that we do. For me, I want to get a chance to be recognized as an amazing interviewer, regardless of the stutter, but get a chance to have fun interviews, get a chance to have a great time with the fighters. But for you, you have so much that you want to be recognized for. So my question to you is, what's something you want to be recognized for during your time fighting?
So I had to think about that because I mean, I'm not going to be the undefeated fighter. I'm not going to be that person with the story. I'm going to be the person that has the comeback. That's what I want to be remembered for. I want to be the person, I want to be remembered as a person that didn't quit. I want to be remembered for me just following this passion, like what I love. And even if there are setbacks, even if, there are losses, even if there are situations that don't work out the way I want them to, that, I just keep going and I keep working for it. And I just want to be that example. And that example to people, whether it's in fighting or not, in life and anything. I want to be able to show like, hey, like you can. It's gonna take some time, right? Everybody thinks it's few years and I'm a champion. No, it's gonna take years and years when you're talking about a craft, but it's possible. You just have to dedicate yourself to it.
And of course, something I've always thought about is that you have been the most supportive when it comes to fighting, and of course, you support so many others. You show so much support to the fighting now, and I want to get a chance to do this. Though for people that I just mentioned, is that we've tried so many times to have this interview, but of course we couldn't. And I'm telling you, but yet, one thing I can say is that it's been so amazing to get a chance to see you grow, not only as a person but also as a fighter. Since I met you, you have done so many incredible things, and ignore the sirens. I don't know what's going on. But however, the one thing I can say is that thank you so much for all that you do for fighting, so much for what you do for the fight now, and I cannot wait to see what you killing it on February 3rd at BYB Extreme. And I do this with all my interviewers, but I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. So, do you have any final thoughts? Any final comments you want to say?
Um, Not really. I have to shout out my little sister. That's something that she told me that I needed to start doing. In my interviews, she's like, "You need to mention me." I'm like, "Okay." So she's not that little anymore. She's 17, and just want to give a big shout out to her. She's definitely one of my main reasons why, even though I'm not in the same country anymore, it's still I want to be that role model. I want to be that big sister for her. So I definitely want to shout out to her. Shout out to 10 Planet San Diego, where Manolo and Bill have helped me, where a lot of the great, like the girls that are there. Also the guys, like the MMA team, we have some up and comers. Amateurs that have helped me a lot, have been great to work with. It's just everybody on this journey. Like it's been technically it's been a 10-year journey. Fighting has been a 5-year journey. 2017 I had my first amateur fight. So yeah, a little over 5 years. But it's every single person that's been a part of it. Like I thank them.
And of course, something that I cannot stress enough about is that if you're watching this right now and you want to get just go follow her, please do go give her a follow on Instagram, on social media. I'm sure she'll definitely appreciate it because one thing I can say is that this is a type of fighter that never gives up. She defies never gives up because no matter how tough it gets, she's gonna keep going. And one thing I can say is that I had such an amazing time with you. thank you so much for what you do. Thank you so much for all that you do for the sport, because I don't know if you ever see it, but yet you're worth being in the sport. You're worth fighting because you're meant to be a fighter. Everyone has their ways of fighting, and it's so beautiful and so incredible. So once again, it's such an amazing time. Thank you so much for all that you do, and I'm hoping that you get a chance to enjoy this time.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No problem. I'll let you go. Have a great time. Good luck to you on February 3rd at BYB Extreme. Go kill it, girl. All right?
Yep. Sounds good. Thank you, Jake.
No problem. See you, girl.
Bye.
All right. That was Nadine. That was such an amazing time, such an amazing interview. It has been months of waiting, months of anticipation. That was so fun, so incredible. And I cannot thank her enough. I cannot thank BYB for all the support. Thank you to Nadine for such an amazing interview. If you guys want to get a chance to go follow her, I cannot stress this enough. Here it is, right here on the screen, so you guys can go and give her a follow. Go show some love. As a matter of fact, go hype her up because she definitely deserves it. She's such an amazing fighter, such a humble human being. Love her and such an amazing person in so many ways. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for myself here at the Fighting Now. If you guys want to get a chance to go follow me, make sure you guys go do that and get your merchandise right now at the Fighting Now. Link in bio on Instagram. We have so much more. We have so many projects. We have so much in store for you guys. I cannot wait. So make sure you guys go follow us here at the Fighting Now. And if you guys like what you see right now, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel and might as well hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any Fighting Now interviews from yours truly. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time here today for the Fighting Now for myself, Jake. I am Jake saying so long. Have a great one and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.